Properly blurs the word. Let me pass you a cup. You're not caffeinated enough. Properly blurs the word. Let me pass you a cup. Not caffeinated enough. Not caffeinated enough. Not caffeinated enough. Not caffeinated enough. Not caffeinated enough.
Hey, what's up?
There you are. How you been?
Sure. Yeah,
You sure?
that's a good question. My mom, I'm still trying to figure out what the best way visiting her. I don't know, it feels like the time to go down there, but I'm real paranoid about this whole virus thing. I'm not trying to get anything to her, but
That's tricky.
yeah, I don't know. Other than that, I'm just trying to get my life together.
Why don't you take some time? Do you feel like you know what I'm saying? You don't feel like you could take time to kind of just be? Or do you feel like you kind of got to keep yourself busy with everything, not caffeinated enough? You feel like it's helping to keep you busy and keep your mind off of things to a degree? Or do you feel like you're obligated to it?
Sometimes I feel like it's helping to keep my mind just occupied, but then sometimes it feels like too much.
I think that that things for you, things for the brand are really in a good place and really in a position to just do good, and not only do good, but be different for the community and just be good for the community overall. And I think you know how to expand it. I think you're ready for it, but I think you really want to take the time for yourself first. Expanding it and growing bigger and collabing, it's like you said, it's going to be fast paced. You're going to have people depending on you. You're going to have to, devote more time to yours. So you want to be in a good position to do so, like all around. And right now you're not in the best of positions because you have stuff going on.
Yeah. You a therapist?
Sure. I'm the one that needs the therapy.
Don't we all, though?
Other than that, how have you been doing, like in coffee in general? Have you discovered anything new and great?
I did just get a Groove Sifter.
Okay, so I saw it, right? And at first it took me a minute because I'm not on your level. So I was like, what is this thing? Somebody like me that doesn't know, like, how is it helpful to you to have that?
It helps for the most part with clarity, from what I found. Like I don't know if you've ever tasted coffee that is like kind of muddied in flavor. Sometimes sifting your coffee will help. When you take out like the finest parts of the coffee, there ends up being like a lot of like just dust up in there. And so taking that out, in addition to helping with just getting the flavors that you want, it really helps get you just kind of whatever brew you're going for. It helps it taste more like what it's supposed to taste like.
I guess it would be similar to the same reason people would sift like flour for baking, you know what I'm saying? And would it be kind of sort of like that?
I think with like flour, it's to get rid of like clumps, just to
Okay.
it up a little bit. This is that's a really good question. But yeah, I'd say that this is different because you're not trying to break anything up. You're actually taking like different sizes out. How about you? How have you been?
I've been good. I started a new job a week ago, 2 weeks ago. So that's pretty nice. It's kind of been taking up more of my time. But I was already, prior to starting the job, kind of like in a situation where I wanted to really hone in on what it is that I want to do. And while I like Instagram, I'm not very good at being social. So I'm not very like able to keep up with I can't keep up with like multiple streams of social media. I want to incorporate more of who I am in coffee and tax, but I felt like I was being very limited with what I could do creatively on just Instagram, if that makes sense. So I was like, all right, either I'm going to do a podcast or I'm going to do YouTube. And the reason I want to do YouTube is because years ago, my family, we like had like a little channel or something like that. We were, just doing it for fun and stuff like that. So I like video and filmmaking, and I like photography, and I like all of these things. So that's one of the reasons why I like YouTube, because I like to create visually as well as like, just like still photos as well as like video. Mm-hmm. So I was trying to figure out a way that I could incorporate all of what I like into like one package that felt more like me and authentic. So I was like, all right, I'm going to, really like focus on trying to create a YouTube channel for coffee and tax. And I felt like I think it would be great for one, because I feel like there's honestly a lack of Black coffee on YouTube. I look on YouTube and I see like old clips of like competitions and things like that, or just like old clips. I see A Bar, I see Coffee Black on YouTube. I see, Fly Boss Blends Coffee on YouTube, but it's not like a lot. And on Instagram, there's so much more of it now. I'm like, okay, that's great, but I want for us to be seen everywhere.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me go ahead and see if there's a way that I can actually contribute to more Black faces in coffee on YouTube in that space. So I was like, okay, so that's where my mind has kind of been, like, in addition to getting a new job, just kind of focusing in on how I can contribute to not only the YouTube space, but just contribute to just every space in general, especially the coffee space, Black space, as far as, bringing hopefully insightful information as far as taxes go to the YouTube space, in a way that's like more digestible. I'm a regular person. I don't look like I, could work on Wall Street. I probably can't work on Wall Street, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I know a little bit about a little bit when it comes to taxes, and I don't look like your average tax professional or whatever. Yeah. So getting the information from me might be a little bit more digestible than getting it from somebody who looks completely opposite. So I was like, all right, so I could bring more of that, and bring more of just where I stand in coffee as far as coming in from a consumer standpoint, not necessarily having a skill in coffee, not necessarily having worked in a shop before, just straight, I just love the beverage, I just love drinking it. And just penetrating the industry and being of use to the industry with what I do know, even if it's not coffee that I know. Because before coffee and tax, I struggled with being intimidated because I didn't know anything about coffee other than wanting to drink it. Yeah. So I just want the YouTube channel to be like really purposeful and insightful and just good and wholesome feeling, and just regular, because I'm regular. I feel like I'm rambling.
You're fine.
So I just wanted to I feel like a lot of people now, I should say, we're very aware of the fluff that we see everywhere. Social media is full of it, and I think that people are getting like over it, and people are going to want to genuinely start supporting other genuine people. I think we're going to come to a place where it's like, all right, we're over the glitz and the glam, and that's cool, and we'll entertain it for a little bit, but let me start really supporting like genuine people, real people. Like, let's bring back that authenticity that we used to see on YouTube or on Instagram, where it was just like regular, every time you turn around, somebody on Instagram has like something that's super fancy or blitzed out, blinked out, you know what I'm saying? Like the best of the best. And every space that you create in is perfect. You know what I mean? Look at my background. Like, that's not perfect by far. And I'm like, I'm not going to sit up here and, first of all, I don't have tons of money to spruce up my place. And then even if I did, I'm not sure that that's the investment I want to make, you know? So what happened? Let's normalize being normal again. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel like always cleaning from head to toe before I post a video on Instagram or I mean, maybe I should. I mean, maybe it's just me as a person, but I don't have that much energy.
If I had been on Instagram first and that's where I was looking for coffee stuff, tips and tricks, I probably never would have started making videos because I would have been like, oh, okay, I see that we got a space here. We're out there. But yeah, it's not everywhere. There's a pretty solid community on Instagram, which is cool, but yeah, not.
You know, I mean, I want to see more. I mean, there's videos of coffee. I mean, you type in coffee, you'll see videos, but just to see the Black perspective, you know, and I found myself, you know, like I see Coffee Black or A-Bar on, you know, YouTube. And it's like, I find myself like, it's informative, it's informational, it's relatable. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, all right, I'd rather get my, not that I'd rather get my perspective from only the Black perspective, but it's just good to see, you know, to have that available to me and to have that be, you know what I'm saying, prominent in the, as far as the information that I consume, you know? So
not only like white people with fancy gear or whatever, fancy backgrounds, very all that polished look, seeing only that perspective, I mean, it doesn't make other people feel like, at least it didn't make me feel very welcome in the space. I've worked at like 8 different coffee shops. It's primarily white bros speaking about coffee all in the same way. And then, you know, I've been finding out more and more that there's other ways to talk and think about coffee.
Yeah. So, I mean, that is so true. It's so funny because I was talking to Courtney of Rise Coffee and Culture. I definitely wanted to be a part of coffee. I always knew I wanted to be a part of coffee. I just didn't know how. And again, not having any type of skill set, not even having capital to even build a business from the ground up, to be honest. I was trying to figure out a way that I could penetrate the industry and like be useful to the industry with what I knew and what I had. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll have like a mobile coffee cart. So I began to build a business called Baltimore Rose Coffee. And like, I was really like heavy on Instagram, trying to find just not only people that look like me in coffee, but just trying to figure out ways that I could get support as a Black woman with no capital, you know, no experience whatsoever. And I didn't find that it was easy to find those resources on Instagram. Only person that, not even gonna say the only person, but a person that like one of the first people I saw and really just fell in love with was Michelle of the Chocolate Barista. So, I mean, it was like, dang, that makes sense. You know, I wanted to consume like everything that, you know, she was a part of, everything that she wrote. I wanted to, you know what I'm saying, like look at and read and research and just see, you know, from her perspective, how it was to be Black in coffee. Because like I said, I really didn't see ways to gain support at that time, at least not on Instagram. Because like I said, I'm not on Twitter, I'm not on Facebook, so I'm not on a million different platforms trying to find these resources. I'm just trying to utilize the one platform that I could mentally handle and, you know, try to find resources that way. So honestly, I think I was telling Courtney, I said, I honestly think that at that time, one of the reasons why Baltimore Rose Coffee, just one of the reasons, not the main reason, because I believe in God. So I believe that what's for me is for me. And I believe that at that time that wasn't for me. But I think what contributed was definitely the fact that I could not find much of anybody that looked like me. So I was intimidated. I didn't know where to start. I was confused. You know what I'm saying? Like I just, a person like me that needs that extra like support and that extra lift, because I'm just not the type of person that will just like motivate myself to do everything. And I'm not like that. I need a little extra support. And knowing that about myself and the fact that I felt like I couldn't easily find it at that time was one of the reasons why I feel like Baltimore Roast Coffee didn't succeed, you know, but it's a reason why now I feel like representation is so important, because when Coffee and Tax began a few years after that, one of the very first people that reached out to me was Abart, you know, of Coffee Black. Like, I was like a little nobody in coffee, and he was just like, hey, yo, fam, you know, very like welcoming, and you know what I'm saying? Like very, very like, hey, cuz, you know, like very like welcoming feeling. I was like, my bad, my phone rang. I was like, dang, like this is pretty cool. Like, it's, you know, and so it made me feel like comfortable. Like off rip, we were talking about ways that we can collaborate and do things in my community, you know, like, and it was just very good to have that, I think, in the very beginning stages of Coffee and Tax, because I feel like it kind of set the foundation for who I am and where I want to go moving forward. You know, so I think that's why representation, one of the reasons why representation is so important in certain spaces. And not that I want to take away from the representation that's on Instagram, but I feel like more of us could also give more of ourselves in bigger capacities, given, you know what I'm saying? Like there, I feel like, you know, it'll give us more space to just be more creative and even more just giving of what it is that we're trying to give in a small platform like Instagram. So tell me about, okay, so this experiment that you had in mind about the frozen beans versus the room temp beans, like what is the science or the thought behind that one?
Initially, I became aware that a lot of people freeze their beans to keep them fresh. Then I was reading about extraction, and an even grind size can theoretically give you more extraction out of your coffee. Grinding frozen beans will help you get a more even grind size, which would then help you get more extraction. So I don't have an extraction tool or a tool to measure extraction. And that's interesting for me to read about that kind of stuff. But what I'm always most interested in any kind of like theory is how does it affect the taste? So I thought that's what we could test to see if we taste any kind of difference and if it makes us have a preference one way or the other. So yeah.
Nicely explained. Very nicely explained. I could understand it. So I know that was nicely explained. Now I think I messed up though, right? Because I just heard you say that something about having to grind the beans that were frozen. I ground them first.
I didn't even think to mention that.
I ground them first. When you were saying that, I was like, oh, okay.
That's okay. Okay, so we'll be able to run two different experiments then.
I talk too much.
No.
What are we doing? I forgot what we're doing now.
All right, we're getting I guess we can just start brewing. What beans are you did you decide to go with?
All right, so for my frozen beans, I went with Boss Blends, the Culture Blend,
Okay.
Boss Blends coffee, and then honestly, for I'm lying. This is the fresh coffee. These are the fresh beans, and then the frozen beans are same brand, Boss Blends coffee, but the Lover's Rock, which I love, so good.
What are the differences between the two coffees? Like,
Don't put me on the spot like that. I don't.
that's okay. That's okay.
I forgot.
Like it don't say on the bag.
I did. It does but see, I can look it up on my phone. You put me on the spot. But the Lover's Rock, I could have swore it had notes of chocolate and berries. This one says notes of chocolate, almond, and smoky. Oh. So Culture Blend is notes of chocolate, almond, smoky. It's a dark roast.
This was another thing that I didn't even mention.
What did I do wrong? What did I do?
We each should be using the same beans, not as each other, but like the frozen and the room temp should be the same to really difference.
I got you.
In taste, but we won't worry about it.
Oh shoot!
Different type.
I feel like I done ruined the experiment.
I didn't. This is part of me needing to get my shit together a little bit more. I didn't say any of that, so it's all good. It's all good. I think I said the most important part, which is freeze some beans. Don't freeze some other beans.
Okay. Yeah, which one are we brewing first, the fresh or the frozen?
Ooh, let's do the fresh one first.
Okay.
And just to show you what I'm using Boom Boom Kenyan with its notes of grapefruit and mango.
Since we're being all the way honest about like the ways we've already probably ruined the experiment, I'm going to admit that I still put sugar in my coffee. Just a little bit. I think it helps me to taste it better.
Okay. You just, I mean, that makes sense though, because sometimes it's hard to get over the bitterness of it. So if you can sweeten it up to like help you overcome, like get past that bitterness so you can taste other stuff, I think that makes sense.
Yeah. I like how you made that work for me. Thank you.
For the longest, I was looking, like before I started doing my own research, I was just listening to other people tell me what the best thing was where coffee was concerned. And I started like noticing that, wait a minute, I feel like everyone's saying something different a little bit.
Yeah.
I clearly can't count on any one person or organization to tell me what the best way to drink coffee is. So let me figure this out for myself.
Yeah, I like that. So who else are you scheduled to meet up with, and what other kind of cool experiments do you have planned, or can you not tell us?
Top secret.
Oh.
You know what? I actually, as far as podcast episodes, this might be the last one for a little bit with another guest. One, because it's kind of hard for me to work with a schedule these days. And that's not really fair to other people. Like it's just been kind of hard for me to like coordinate with other people lately.
Mm-hmm.
At least like back to back to back. But then also like I like being small because I can do whatever I want. And part of doing whatever I want is having people on the show only that like I like and vibe with. I feel like I'm running out of those people. A lot of people out there that I like, and it would be dope to like sit down and talk to, you know, about coffee. But most of them I feel like are too big time for me. So
Wait. No, let's explore this. Like who?
um let's see, like Michelle Johnson, the chocolate barista, or even Bartholomew Jones, Mr. Apart.
Nah, I can't lie. I don't think I'm ready for him though. I mean, not to cut you off, but I think I might be understanding of where you're coming from because I feel he's just so knowledgeable and I would get swallowed up in the conversation because I just don't possess that type of knowledge yet. Like it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing, but it's just so like I gotta like up my game first. But I mean, same thing with Michelle too. Like I get what you're saying. So I don't know if that's the same reasons that you have for it, but I get it.
See what I mean? So it's partly that, but then also I just assume that they're probably too busy for me.
The feeling intimidated part is normal,
Uh-huh.
is okay. Then taking it to say, well, I'm going to assume that they are too busy to give me any of their time. That part is the part that I would say we should not listen to because I feel almost comfortable saying that I'm comfortable saying that they would make time. You know what I'm saying? Because of who you are. Yeah, everybody's busy. Like I'm busy, you're busy. You understand what I'm saying? Like we're all busy. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they are busy, but just who you are in coffee, who you are to coffee, what it is that you're doing because it's so different. Like you're the one that said a couple minutes ago, like there's not only one way to be in coffee. You know, look at me. Um, I don't make sense in coffee. Look at what you're doing in coffee. I haven't seen it in coffee. You understand what I'm saying? Like this is different. Sierra of Mama's Brew, you know what I'm saying? Like what she's doing is different. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not really being seen. What A Bart is doing, Coffee Black, like it's different. All of it is different. So because it's so different and because I think we're all very aware that it's what's needed in coffee, I think that they would make time, you know, and if that time does not even align with our time, you know what I'm saying? Just the fact that you've reached out, you've begun to build that relationship that's going to strengthen, you know, you as a person. I mean, I hate to keep saying leading everything back to coffee because it's much bigger than coffee, but it's could possibly be a benefit in more than one way by building that relationship. And then I say, why not? Like, do it, see what happens. I think that they would, because listen, I mean, look at what you're doing.
Right.
Who's doing this right now? Getting with people like me who know absolutely nothing about coffee and saying like, hey, this is easy enough for you to do. I can make you or help you to understand it because of how I'm explaining it to you. Mm-hmm. And so even you who knows absolutely nothing about coffee can feel like you're doing a good thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, or doing something right. I might start freezing my beans because of this. I mean, I'm like, oh my God, Nikki told me it's the cool thing to freeze your beans. So I freeze my beans and I really do taste a difference.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll take all that into consideration.
Yeah, take it into consideration.
I guess you asked what else I'm doing. I'm putting together another roundtable thing. What we're gonna be doing is kind of recreating the flavor wheel, just because I know there's like other versions of the flavor wheel. There've been other attempts made to kind of add more variety, but there's stuff like, I don't know, like herbs is on the flavor wheel. I don't know what that means in coffee. I don't know what that tastes like in coffee. Bergamot, I don't know. I've never had bergamot before. And I've been hearing from some other people that, like I heard from someone that they thought like the acidity in their coffee reminded them of cheese. Okay.
I've heard that, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, that's new to me. Like I haven't had that, but it's not on the flavor wheel. And if that's what some people are tasting, it should be. Because I feel like the flavor wheel is only how it is because that's how, like that's how the industry experts decided what should be on there, and the industry experts, that's what they call themselves, and that's how like the industry sees these experts. They're all white people.
Yeah.
I know they're starting to get a little bit of like variety in there, but I still don't see. It's still an area where I see Black people missing from for the most part.
Right.
And I mean, it's not. It's just like it's a cultural thing. Taste. What flavors you're familiar with, what flavors you grew up with. We don't all grow up with the same flavors, tasting the same things. So yeah, that's what the roundtable kind of like workshop thing is gonna be.
I think I think you have such brilliant ideas. And so I can really see that being just a nice addition to the space. You know what I'm saying? Because you have all of these different ways of experiencing things, and like you said, I think a lot of different sectors and industries have only one way of thinking of something, one way of presenting it, and one way of handling it, and things like that. So I think just inviting different views and perspectives and ways to experience and think about things, even though we know we all have different experiences, I think we feel a little bit restricted because we're consciously and subconsciously made to think that we should only think of something one or two ways. So we kind of suppress the ways that we experience things because we feel like, for instance, if you really did like the flavor or the note of cheese in your coffee, how forthcoming would you be with that information to a lot of people? Because like, you probably got to hear it from a lot of people who don't really know or have that type of, who don't really know about something like that or have never experienced it, saying like, ew, that's, like weird or whatever the case may be. And if you just don't feel like hearing it, you're just not gonna, divulge that information. So it's not that, the way that you're thinking or the way that you experience it is wrong. It's just different, so just being very forthcoming about the fact that we all experience things differently. And, oh, dang, I didn't know nobody could experience coffee in color, or I didn't know anybody could experience it that way. I think it's just, it's cool that you're bringing that to the forefront. I never saw our first interview. Did you even post that one?
Oh, our live?
Yeah.
I came up with this idea, which I still don't know, may not be a good idea, but to use the live videos as a tier benefit on Patreon. The tier benefit will get like the full video, and then I'll put the shortened version up on Instagram.
You know what? I was struggling with whether or not I'm even create a Patreon account. I probably will not.
Why wouldn't you do Patreon?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if it's different because I guess I'm viewing it as people using that as, I guess there's two ways you can view it. You can view it as people charging for their, or not charging, people using that as a source of income to sustain them. Or if people's main reason for utilizing that platform is because they create something and need to get compensated for what it is that they're creating. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm not sure which, I don't know.
I asked because I struggled with the same thing. I initially was thinking I didn't want to have a Patreon page because the idea that you could just like basically kind of asking for money, not that there's anything wrong with that, but the idea that you could do that and people would just kind of like give it to you on a regular
right
to me. Like I couldn't really wrap my head around it, especially as it concerned me. But yes, I know you said as like maybe the supplement and kind of what you were saying, there's a way to kind of charge for what they're providing or
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't really see myself as falling under any of those categories. And I was like, yeah, I'm making videos, but they're for me. Like I didn't feel
But other people are you're well, I mean, I think I get what you're saying, but at the same time, too, you got to think about it. Like people, all of us pay for entertainment, right?
Mhm.
So we pay to see what other people provide as sources of entertainment, right? So if Denzel is making a movie, Denzel's not making it for me. He doesn't know me, but he's making it. And because I really like Denzel, I'm gonna probably pay to see it. So
Uh-huh.
you kind of see it as a way of like, and I guess I'm answering my own question as well, but you can kind of see it as that, like you're making content for, yes, for people to consume it. Yes, because you know that a majority, if not all of the people that follow you and support you love coffee to some degree, but you're really making it because this is the type of content that you like to make.
Mhm.
We're supporting because we enjoy the content that you make. And that's okay. Like we're okay with, we know it. You're not swindling us out of money or tricking us into thinking that we're going to be you know what I'm saying? Like
Uh-huh.
we're going to be some elite coffee pro by the end of watching one video, but we just like what you're doing. We like the experimentations. We like the collaborations. We like the breaking it down so that I can understand it. So it's like, all right, I like that. Like I'm willing to support that. I mean, because if you think about it, we all support something. I don't know where I was. I can't really pinpoint it like that, but I do remember at some point in my life, somebody telling me like, because I used to have a big problem with accepting gifts from people. Like if somebody said, like if you were to say, hey, Tiani, I want to send you bags of coffee, I'd be like, no, like it just, I felt like I could not do that. And then, so somebody told me one time, like, listen, I want to bless you. Like, allow me to do that. It's, you're stopping me from being blessed by refusing what it is that I'm trying to do for you or give to you. And that's not verbatim, but it's just, that was the gist of the conversation. And it was just kind of like, even though it's hard to accept that type of gift from somebody, I got to allow them to do it because that's what they genuinely want to do. Maybe, me being a believer in God, maybe God said to them, like, bless her. And they were being obedient and being obedient, to what God is saying to them, they had to do it. And here it is, you're blocking their blessing because you're saying no. So I had to start thinking of it in those terms. And like you said, people, as long as you're open and transparent and genuine and forthcoming with the information, like people, we make choices about what we consume on a daily basis. Like how many of us have subscriptions to a magazine or something that's totally stupid that we probably don't even remember we subscribed to, but yet they're taken from our account every month.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so we support like what we know what we're supporting. We support what we want to support genuinely. And I think that, like you said, if you're not looking at it like I have, this is my only, whatever means of eating, for some people it may be, but for a lot of people, it's just no, just allowing people to just genuinely kind of like bless you because it's supporting. Hey, if we can support, you continuing to do these experiments, then we want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I used to be that way with how you were with or how you said you are with gifts. I used to be that way with compliments.
mm,
Like I couldn't accept a compliment for the life of me. I would be like try to back out of someone else's compliment. I read somewhere in some book, it said something like when someone says thank you for something and if your response is, oh, don't worry about it or no problem, it's almost like you're taking away the thank you, like you're not.
mm,
And the best way to accept that thank you is basically like you're welcome. And
mm.
like that always felt weird to me because it's like accepting that I did something good for this,
Right.
thinking about where the other person is coming from when they engage with me, like if they want to support me in some way with words or financially. It's easier for me to accept it when I think about where they're coming from,
Mm.
which is still hard to do.
No, I'm sure. Because you made me think of it in a different way that I had never thought of before when you said that. Because I do have a, a issue or a problem with when people say thank you of saying you're welcome.
Yeah.
And there's times where I will say you're welcome, but when I stop and think about it, I don't know what separates those times for other times where I feel like I have to respond with not a problem. Like if you were to really like stop and explore the reasons why you respond in certain ways to certain people or just the reasons behind it in general is probably really like interesting if I stop and think about it.
Yeah. It's still my default to say like no problem or something, but now that I'm a little bit more aware of it, I've noticed that I am more likely to like feel okay with saying you're welcome if I'm being thanked for if I'm being thanked for something that I feel like I was forced to do or being thanked by someone I don't really like.
Ah, I see that. I get it.
All right, so these coffees. I will say I did notice a difference.
Ooh, I want to hear it.
Okay, so the frozen bean coffee, it tastes clear. Like there's more clarity. The grapefruit and mango in here out of those and the boom boom coffee, I always taste the grapefruit more. And so that's in the room temp one, but it's like I don't know how else to describe it, but like the taste and almost like the texture, I feel like is just a little bit like muddier. The grapefruit isn't very clear. In this one, it was like pow. The flavor overall isn't stronger, but it's
Mm-hmm.
pure. Like I can make out the grapefruit a little more, and it just feels brighter somehow.
Mm. I'm
Yeah.
glad you said that. And I'm glad you said that because coming from a person that doesn't really know a lot about coffee, one of the things that I find interesting is if I'm talking to somebody that knows more than me, and if I'm thinking something in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, this is what I feel, this is what I experience, this is what I taste. But it comes in that, oh, I don't know if what I feel is true. And then I hear somebody else say it. I'm like, oh shoot, then I might be like onto something.
Uh-huh.
So although we did use different coffees, my experience was a lot like yours. So again, I used the Boss Blends coffee. One was the Lover's Rock. The Lover's Rock was the frozen. Now, I didn't have enough left of the Lover's Rock when I ground it, so I did incorporate some of the culture blend.
Okay.
Again, that's probably another way that I ruined it. But so there was a little bit of it in there. Um, so the taste overall, meaning like the flavors, the notes were very similar. Because like I said, the Lover's Rock, I did have chocolate, notes of chocolate, and I thought berries, and which was the frozen one. And then the room temp culture blends had notes of chocolate almond and it was smoky.
Okay.
Now, the first one, the room temp coffee, to me, I tasted the chocolate, definitely tasted the chocolate, but it was, to me, it did feel what you would describe as muddy. It wasn't bad. It was good. It was a little bit heavier, it felt like to me. And then when I tasted the frozen coffee, it was instantly like a pow. I don't know what it was, but it was just like, and the first thing that came to mind was like, it felt brighter. Um, so when you said that, I was just like, okay, it's not just me. So it definitely felt much brighter. I can get it felt clearer, what you said about clarity. But yeah, I definitely got a pow. It felt brighter. It felt like I don't get smoky a lot. I definitely get a lot of almond.
Mm.
Um, it just feels lighter on my palate. It just doesn't feel as heavy, you know. And I think if I mean, I don't really know if it was the fact that it was frozen or not, but I definitely got a difference in the way that I experienced it from the room temperature coffee.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. And I will say, as far as like to your comment on like not really knowing if it's just you or whatever, you know, when you taste certain things in coffee, uh yeah, it don't matter. If you, then that's what it is. When I first started coffee, if I was in a room of any group of like coworkers that I've worked with before, if it was before I started doing my own thing, I wouldn't say anything that went against the group. Like I would definitely like if I thought I tasted something, you know, but wasn't sure, no one else said it, like I'm not about to say it. I might have to start freezing my beans.
You think you're gonna test it out more?
I think this is all the test I need. I think I might just need to start doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless it's different, unless I get different results for different coffees, but
Yeah.
coffees and we got the same thing. So
Yeah.
it might be.
Yeah. That seems like like an extra step. I'm like, right, like that might be the only thing. I'm like, now that's an extra step. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'll have to see. I might give it a couple of more go rounds to kind of see if it's worth it to me.
Yeah.
And if my experience is just like, oh my gosh, over the top every single day, my cup of coffee is like a dream, which it really should be. But then I might have to incorporate it.
Yeah, we'll see. And you know what? I mean, I know I'm looking in different mugs, different colored mugs too, but so I could be playing with my eyes. But the room tip one looks muddier, unless it's just me. But like my eyes playing tricks on me. But no, I think it. Yeah, I intentionally like didn't sift my coffee for this. Like, even though I got my brand new fancy tool, because like I don't know, I didn't want to. Well, actually, yeah, maybe I should do that. You know what? My next test is going to be frozen beans versus room temp, but sifted. Since the frozen thing helps with clarity, and that's what sifting is supposed to do. Like, I wonder.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, maybe the difference is the same.
That would be a good one.
Okay. Yeah, that's my next thing. I'll let you know what happens.
Yeah, let me know. Keep me posted.
That means I'm also going to have to do sifted and frozen. Like frozen beans, sifted, and see if that adds even extra a pound. Oh, shit. Okay, I got work to do.
Yeah, you do. That's going to be a good one. I definitely want to be updated on how that goes.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I can't foresee myself sifting and freezing beans, but if it's that good, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't want to do all that, but I do want to know if.
But you're curious, yeah. Yeah, I see it in your face.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Not half a lady, no.